Hello beauties, and welcome back to the Bumpy Bones Locksport channel. Now in this video I'm going to be doing my entry video for W30Y-Ray's 100 subscribers giveaway. So congratulations W30Y-Ray. I've joined your channel. I really enjoy the videos that you've been making, and I'm really looking forward to the videos that you will make in the future. So for my entry video, W30Y-Ray wants us to talk about our lockpick collection, our tools, and I am very similar to him in terms of I love collecting things. I've really got into collecting different pick sets because I really like seeing how the companies do things a little bit differently or what they do similar and the differences between the companies and all that. So I've only been picking for I would say about 6 months now. I think I started back in November of last year. So 7 months roughly, or 8 months. It's been a long day. I'm a bit tired and I'm hurting, so I do apologize if I slur words and stumble a bit and all that. Um, so let's go ahead and get started here. So I've got picks from four different manufacturers here, and I've actually kind of printed out a nice little list here. So I've got my picks from Covert Instruments, Lockall Tools, Multipick, and Sparrows Lockpicks. Now, I pretty much like all the picks I got. There are some picks I don't like, and I'll talk about the good, the bad of them. I'm going to keep this video as short as I can, but I do have a lot that I do want to talk about, so I am going to put chapters in this video with the different manufacturers. So feel free to skip to the manufacturer that you want to see, and let's go ahead and get started with them. So Covert Instruments is a really good brand. I really like them. They're a US based company. They use good material. They use 301 high yield stainless steel for both their pick and their handle, which is kind of nice having the same material for that way. And it has a rating of about 280,000 psi. Now I get these off the manufacturers, so that's one reason why multi-pick is kind of blank is I couldn't find it anywhere on their website. Another pick set that I really like is Law Lock Tools. In fact, that's really kind of become my favorite lock pick. It's a company in the UK, and they use 301 high yield stainless steel, the same thing as Covert Instruments. But on their website, they actually have a higher PSI rating. They've got 304,000 PSI rating. And I think that's mainly also because of the design that they use, that there's that difference. Because when you're trying to figure out the pressure that a pick can take, the design of the handle, the construction of the pick, and all that definitely has a lot to play with definitely the strength of the material or the strength of the pick and all that. I got picks from Multipick. They're one of the smaller pick collections I got. I only have two sets of theirs, but I'm really liking them. I actually just got the jackknife today, and so I'll show that off a little bit. They actually use a different material. They use a high quality German spring steel for their pick, and then in their handles they use a high quality stainless steel. And I found that a little bit interesting because spring steel is very different than stainless steel. So I couldn't find a lot of information about the strength of it, but it's a really well-known brand. It's a well-respected brand and all that. So I definitely throw them up in the upper tiers. Definitely, in my opinion, these first three are definitely kind of the tier one, the best picks that you can kind of get and all that. And then I got a ton of picks from Sparrows. Now, Sparrows is a U.S. based company also, and they use 301 Cold Max steel. So it's actually a stainless steel that they use, and I've seen other people talking about that it's high. It's not a high yield strength. I forget kind of how they put it. But it's a lower quality steel. I actually did a little research on that 301 CodeMax steel, and I'm a programmer, so I've been playing a lot with Microsoft Copilot. So I actually went to Copilot and said, hey, what is 301 CodeMax steel? And so I got some information here about it. I'm not going to go through all of it here, but it is comparable to the 301 high yield stainless steel. So it actually does have a good PSI rating. It's got a good strength. The way that it is tempered and strengthened is actually really good. And so there's some people out there that do rate that steel lower than the others, but in my opinion, I think it's about comparable. And on the manufacturer website, they have it at the same rating as the 301 high yield stainless steel, which is about the same that I've been finding online as it as well with it as well. The only thing I don't like about Sparrows, and well, I don't want to say the only thing I don't like, but the one thing I don't like are their handles. So they do thermal wrap handles or no handles at all. They don't always offer thermal wrap handles on their picks, and that is an issue for me. Just having a thin sheet of metal to work with is difficult, and so if you get their picks, you do want to work with the handles in order to make them a better pick, a better handle, and all that. And I'll show what I did with my Sparrow Lockpicks and all that. It's actually interesting because one of my while I don't rate them as high as the others, there is a set here that I always recommend to lockpickers or to new lockpickers, and that's their monkey paw set. That's the first thing I grab sometimes when I'm learning a new lock, is I'll grab my monkey paw lock picks and use those to kind of get a better feel of the picks or the pins and all that. So they do have some really good sets, but some of them are okay. Um, and so I've got a list here of the stuff. I'm going to start with Covert Instruments and work down the list here. The one thing I did forget to put in my list here was my Covert Companion with Covert Instruments. But I've got the Echelon pick set, I got their Ergo combs, I got their Genesis pick set, and I've got their Leashy picks and the Covert Instruments. So let's go ahead and take a look at them here. Now, I keep all my picks in an organizer here, at least the ones that will fit. So if I kind of pan my camera up, and you excuse the mess that's on my desk. Life is a bit chaotic right now, and my desk definitely mirrors the state of life right now. So if I pan the camera this way, it's going to be crazy. I don't have a dedicated workbench for my lock picking, so I pick at my computer desk where I work remotely. I'm a programmer. I play my games. I do everything at my desk here. So I try to keep this area here for my lock picking. But I got my organizer here where I keep all my lock picks and my turning tools. I've got cylinders here. And then I got my pinning equipment down in here and some other random stuff here, plus a whole bunch of keys. Um, so let's go ahead and talk about our covert instruments here. So I'm actually going to throw some of these back up here for right now, just to free up some room. I just want to kind of show the extensiveness of my lockpicking set and all that. So let's go ahead and throw some of that stuff here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Echelon kit picks and the Genesis picks first. Um, so what I like about Covert Instruments is the construction of them. I like the sandwich handle. It makes it a little bit wider. Now, I do bowstring wraps on all my handles as well. I do have a video out there on how I do it, and I've been refining the technique over the past few months as well. So I may do another video with a follow-up video on it on some of the tricks I learned to make it a little bit better in that. I've actually been putting some more layers on my picks and all that to make them a little bit thicker, which is kind of nice and all that. So I like the profile of Covert Instruments. They're very comfortable, especially if you do a handle wrap on them. And I can always kind of rely on these to get me into a lock if everything else fails and all that. So they're kind of my starting point and also the end point if I'm having a lot of problems with locks, because these were the first picks I got, and so I am very comfortable with them. What I do like about like the Echelon set is the Echelon set had the .020" width picks. And I actually find that very useful when I'm working with an AM5 keyway, so an American, so like a keyway from American Lock here. So if I take my American Lock here, I can go bottom of the keyway and the .20 .020 width is actually perfect for the AM5 keyway. So I use this width a lot. In fact, it's probably the width that I go with the most now. Um, I like the one thing I don't like about Covert Companion, or not Covert Companion, Covert Instruments right now is the selection they have. You know, they do have a limited selection. This is pretty much all the profiles they have right now. They are releasing some new picks soon, which I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on. But it is a really nice, high quality tool. Um, I do like their ergo combs. The ergo comb collection is actually really nice. I like the fact that they title or label all the picks, and they're very comfortable to use. I practice with them a lot. They're really nice. I do have their, oh no, that's Sparrows. I'll talk about that later. On the Covert Companions, I have two of them. I've got the full Covert Companion here. I really like it. This is one that I will grab if my hands are really hurting and I need a nice wide handle. What's nice with this is that you can angle the pick to different angles to be more comfortable for you. You do want to use it in an ice pick style, so you want to hold it like this or a pistol grip. And so it does take a lot of getting used to because it is a very different style of picking. But I can feel a lot of the feedback through this. This is comfortable for me if my hands are really hurting. You can see it fits in the hand really nicely and will rest right up against the finger as you're picking. So, you know, once you get used to the grip, which does take a lot of work to get used to, it is a nice tool to have, plus also the variety of the picks. Now, the one thing that I don't like about it is some of the blueprints that they have in terms of assembling it. I don't like when they do the alternating because what I was finding was when I was closing it, the picks would all kind of mash together and I couldn't close it flat. So I actually reorganized it into this pattern. And that's one thing that I love about the Covert Companion is that it is a flexible tool that you can organize to meet your needs and you can customize it to your style. And so I think that idea was absolutely great. I got the Riv-pick. I don't use it that much, but it is a nice addition to it. And then you got your turning tools, which are really nice. Now, the one thing that I did run into a lot of problems, I got the American Lock bypass with it. I had to work at this in order to get it to work. I could not get that to work on any of my American locks. I had to reprofile the head of it, grind it down a bit. I added a beveled top to it in order to get it to slide in and reach the locking mechanism. But once I made that modification, it works perfectly. I had to do the same thing on my Sparrows. So it's not a problem with just Covert Instruments. My Sparrows bypass, I also had to do that with. All right. And then I also have the slim pickings, and I did modify this a bit. The slim pickings is just the Riv-pick and the turning tools, but what I wanted is I wanted a Covert Companion that was just a little bit more narrow, and I just wanted like the hook picks and the rake picks in this one. So I actually, when Covert Instruments released the Genesis set and 20,000s for the Covert Instruments, I actually bought the regular Genesis set and then the 20,000 Genesis set and threw that in here. And so I've got, you know, the regular Genesis, the 20,000, so I've got the slimmer hooks in here now. And that's really nice, especially when I'm working with like American Lock or a narrower keyway like Yale. I'll often use the medium hook in the Yale locks. And those work really good. So those I often grab these tools quite a bit. And then I also got a lot of their leashes. So I've got the AM5, the KW5, KW1, SC4, SC1 leashes. You know, I like them. I always recommend if you're learning picking or if you're getting into a sport, pick up a set, especially with the common locks that you use because it's just a nice thing to have as a fallback. I actually just been buying some antique locks and I got a American Lock 600 and I was having a lot of problems opening it. And I can open up the American Lock 1100 series, the 50. Oh, let's see here. Which one's this one? Um, yep, the 5560. So on the AM5 keyways, I've been getting pretty good at opening, but I couldn't get that one open. So I got AMW5, AMW. I keep saying that. AM5 leashy and was able to get it open with that. And the reason why I got it was I wanted to see if the pins were gunked up because there was one pin that I couldn't feel properly. And so that's really nice just to be able to see on the scale here where you are in the lock and then also how deep you're pushing the pins up. And so leashes definitely, in my book, are a very useful tool. Um, so that's my Covert Companion collection. I'm going to now move on to my wall lock tools. I wanted to talk a little bit about multi-pick, but I'm going to do that next because I want to go in alphabetical order here. So with the wall lock tools, I only have one of their sets. I have their Renegade Pro set. And you know they use the same material as Covert Instruments, but they have a very, very different profile to them, and it's a profile that I love. I've got a review video of them, so do feel free to go to that video for more details. But the one thing is I can't keep those those lock picks in my organizer because they are a little bit bigger. So I keep them in the case that they came with, and they are nice lock picks. I use these. These are now becoming my favorite go-to. And again, I do my bowstring handle wrap with them. It works really well, but you can see the design is very different with these. And so if I bring back the Covert instrument here, you know, it's a bigger handle, which is really nice, but also the way that they design the shaft of the pick is really nice. And I think that's why it has that higher rating. If you look at Covert Instruments, it's pretty much flat until you get to the handle. It does spread a little bit, but not as much as you see with the low lock tools here. Um, both of these are Fotane. In fact, pretty much that's what I get when I'm looking at lockpicks. I won't go with lockpicks that are like a quarter tane like Peterson's. You know, I know a lot of people like Peterson's picks. I know they are industry standard, but when I looked at a video on how they were constructed, the pick is literally the same type of pick that you would put in your Covert Companion and only goes about that deep into the handle. And the problem with, and then the rest of the handle is a plastic or a resin. The problem with that is you're putting all that pressure right into this small area. And so you have that higher chance of failure with it. If you have a floating pick, all that stress, all that pressure is being distributed through the handle. So it's a much, much better construction. Um, so that's pretty much whenever I buy picks, that's what I look for first. So I really love my law lock tools. The nice thing about the Renegade set is you get a good variety of picks and you get them in different widths. When you see my picks that have the red black handles, those are the 0.6 millimeters or the 0.025 inch width picks. Black handles are the 5 millimeters or 0.019 or 0.020 picks. And then I have white and black, which are the thin. So they're either then the 0.015 or thinner with those. And I'll show some of those when I hit my Sparrow Lockpicks and all that. But you get a nice variety of picks with the Renegade set. They're all pretty much hook picks. You do have these two hybrids, which are really nice. I use them quite a bit. So this is actually my go-to kit now whenever I'm grabbing picks. I'm getting very comfortable with them. The handle design is different because it does concave up. This is a UK-based company. So when you have a Euro cylinder, so if bring out one of those, often in the UK, when you put them indoors, the pins are facing down. Now, in the US, it's the other way around. And so US pickers will often hold their picks like this, pick upwards. UK pickers often kind of go downwards. So the handle of these picks really are comfortable when you're going down, but they're also comfortable when you're going up too. But because of that curve in the handle, it is a bit different. So it does take a little bit of getting used to when you're working with these. But they are becoming one of my favorites. I gotta start learning how to pick in different orientations. again, I'm so new, and then I'm in the U.S., so all the locks I get and practice with or look at, pretty much in the upward orientation. I do want to learn in different orientations and all that. Um, so I do recommend All Lock Tools. They are a really, really good brand. All right, so let's move on to Multipick. Now, the nice thing about Multipick is they actually use a different steel in their picks. So they're a German-based company, and they use a high-quality German spring steel. And I can't find a lot of information on it, and unfortunately, I couldn't find anywhere on the Multipick website, the PSI rating or anything like that. But what I could find about the spring steel is it's a really, really good steel. So definitely those like the Covert Instruments, Lock Tools, Multipick, I definitely throw these three companies into my tier one. They are a great company. I've actually been getting my nephew and my brother-in-law inch picking, lock picking recently, and I actually just bought them both the Genesis and the Echelon set from Covert Instruments because I want them to have good picks. And so those are really good beginners, and you get high quality, you get a good profile, and I would be very comfortable giving them picks from any of those three companies. Um, Now, with multi-pick, I don't have an extensive collection of them. I got the Elite add-on Slimline Hook Lockpick set. Try saying that 3 times fast. And the reason why I got that one is that was the 0.5 millimeter one. Through my Sparrows collection, I have a ton of hook picks. I mean, I I haven't counted all the hook picks I got, but I've got a ton of hook picks, as you'll see. But I got a ton of hook picks that are in the 0.025 inch width or the 0.6 millimeter width. And when I got into like some of the green belt level locks, blue belt level locks, um, I was finding that having a thinner lock pick was very helpful. So I wanted to get a collection of picks that were thinner. So I went with the add-on set from Multipick, and it's actually a really good set. So that's this set here, and you can see they're all hook picks of different profiles and all that, and they're really nice. What's nice about them is they are very similar to Covert Instruments. And so if I, rather than grabbing a rake, let's grab actual hook pick. You can see it's the same style, sandwich style and all that. In fact, they look almost identical. In fact, if I grab the short hook here, you'll see they are comparable. There are differences with the profile at the tip. The multi-pick is a little thicker, and the angle, the curve is different, but by a minute amount. Other than that, I mean, they're pretty much the same thickness, the same length, and all that. So getting the multi-picks, because I started on Covert Instruments, was a very easy pick to just pick up and go with. So I use these a lot when I'm working with like the AM5 keyways because it's that 20,000 or that, yeah, that 20. No, actually these are 5 millimeters, so that's 0.019 inch width. And so I've also been using these with my Yale because one thing that I've been trying to learn is the lockpicking lawyer actually has a really nice video out there talking about how he attacks some of the paracentric keyways that he has or that are out there. And let me just actually put some of these down. And when you're looking at Yale, and I'm hoping this will come across in the video here, in some keyways, actually, you can come in under the um, the profile of the keyway here. And because they have to have the pins drop down, they drill little holes into that. And if you come down below that, you can actually attack through those holes and not then have to worry about the width of the keyway. It was a really good trick. I highly recommend people go out and look at that video because I just found that very interesting. It's made attacking some of those locks a lot easier for me. And so I got this set kind of to help me do that. And it's definitely a set that I go with when I'm going with some of those locks there. All right, so that is Covert Instruments. Throw that back in there. All right, so let's go ahead and actually, before I go on with that, I did get this set today. So I have been looking at some of the other kind of jackknife or pocket tool sets and that. So I did get the multi-pick jackknife today in the mail, and I got the extended, so it's got all of these other tips. And actually, it's okay, to be honest. I haven't really used it much, but my initial impression just by handling it and looking at it is it's okay. It's not one of my favorites. I like the Covert Companion better, but I do like the fact that, the it's easy to get the picks out, pull them out. It is a bit harder on the Covert Instrument. It's just do that. You tighten this up, and it's nice and steady. The handle is okay. It's kind of thin. Um, I do not like the turning tool. I really do not like the turning tool that came with it. I it's just not working for me that well. But I do like the profiles that are on the multi-pick jackknife here. I gotta work with it more to get a better understanding or a better feel for it before I actually do a full review of it. But at least initially, yeah, this is probably going to be one that stays in the drawer. I'll probably put some of the picks on here that I don't have in my other collections. Like they got some really funky snake picks, snake rakes, and all that. So I'll probably put those on there and use it as a raker, and kind of go with that. Okay, so now let's move on to sparrows. So um, when I was initially buying lockpicks, the two companies that came up a lot was Covert Instruments and Sparrows. Now, Sparrows has a ton of picks, different profiles, and so I've got a lot of their different sets. So, I've got their Dark Shift. I wanted to start getting into dimples, so I got their black flag picks. I haven't started working with them yet, so I can't really talk much about them yet. But I got their Dark Shift set, I got their Monkey Paw sets, the Monstrum, the Reflection, Thin Silver, and the Wizzawazzle set. So I've got a lot of their picks. And as I mentioned before, their picks are either thermal wrap or they don't have a handle on them at all. It's just a thin piece of metal. And so that's really where I got looking into doing my bowstring wrap handles because I needed something thicker than just this thin sheet of metal. And so, in comparison, it's just like trying to work with this, and I'm just imagine that this is the same size as my Covert Instrument there. You just can't get a grip on that, and so you have to have some sort of handle on that, and that's one of the big things. One reasons why I don't rank Sparrows as high as the others because um, the handle is so important when it comes to the pit. But let's go ahead and take a look at the Sparrows that I have, and so if I bring them all out. So that's these three here, plus, let's see here, I also have their bypass drivers, I've got their sliders, and I got a couple of their bypass hooks, which don't really work too much unless you get a specific type of lock. And then I got their strike rakes. Let me get those out here. I'll show that off a little bit later too, kind of as a fun little side project I was working on. Um, so I've got a good collection of these. These are kind of good rake. Are they're called strikers, but zippers I use this as, and they're kind of nice. The grip on them's kind of good. Not a lot of people use them, but I have found some uses for these. Um, but let me start with my pick collection here. So the way that I organize my picks, especially my sparrow picks, is I've got them grouped where I have my hook picks, I got my rakes, and I got my dimples. Now again, I have not gotten into the dimple pickings, but I've used these a little bit, and they're nice. I mean, I'm definitely going to say I'm happy with them, and the tension bars that come with them are good. But again, I haven't used them a lot, so I'm not going to talk about them a lot here. Um, I'm going to start with kind of my favorite set, and this is a set that I recommend from Sparrows, especially to new pickers. because I think that this is the best set that Sparrows has, and this is their monkey paws. These are actually the picks that I grab first most of the time. Especially if I'm learning a lock or having a hard time getting a feel for where the pins are, I will grab these first. In fact, the long hook with the 20 thousandths is probably the one that I use the most. So I do love their monkey paw sets. I think it's one of the best sets that they've got out there. It's one that I recommend. The other sets, they're good, they're okay, but they're not the ones that I grab the most. So um, these are the regular style picks that I've got. So this is the Wizzawazo, the Dark Shift. The Dark Shift are these picks here, which are interesting. I do like the design of this. Again, it's just that thin sheet of metal, so you do have to do something with that handle in terms of making it a little bit easier. The one thing I don't like about it is that if you compare it to one of their other picks, that handle is much, much further. And so, I do have a bit of a hard time finding a grip. I mean, it works for me, especially if I hold it like this, because my thumb is still on my bowstring wrap and I can manipulate and kind of work with it. But, I can't, you know, eh, this is just a little bit better, in my opinion. They do have some really good profiles in here, or a good selection of hook picks and all of that. I mean, I have used all of them, and I have been successful with all of them. But they aren't the ones that I typically grab. I actually find, this is their short hook, and I did try a bowstring wrap on the thermal handle, and you can see the difference between, no, without the thermal handle and with the thermal handle, it's very, very different. Um, I like, you know, I like the bolstering wrap on the thermal handle. I'll probably put a couple more layers on here and probably work at getting, doing the same thing on all my other picks with it. But in my book, a good pick set, you really shouldn't have to modify too much. And even though I put bowstring wraps on my other pick sets from Covert Instruments, Multipicks, and Lock tools, I don't have to use as many layers as I've had to use with my Covert Instruments. I've actually gone through two spools of bowstring, wrapping most of my tools with them because I just gotta put so many layers. I'm up to 5, 6 layers now on some of these, and it's just trying to. The handle is just so important when you're looking at picks and all that. I did get some of their specialty picks in terms of like the wider handles. I mean, they do have some nice wide. Well, I don't want to say nice wider handles, but they do have. Again, it's just that single sheet of metal, um, which is okay. I liked them at first, but after I got the Lock tool set, again, the difference between them is big. I mean, if I bring my Lock tools back out, you'll see just kind of the difference in them. And so, having that profile, having the contour makes a big difference in these. And while, yes, and again, my bowstring wrap, and this is again another reason why I love and I hate Sparrows at the same time, is that their wide handle picks have nice designs on them. But as you can see, if you really want to make them usable and you gotta put a handle on them, you lose that design. And it's just these are more a collector's item, I feel, rather than a functional pick. I mean, the profiles are good, which is why I put a wrap on them and I use them. But it's kind of a shame that you have to cover up the beautiful artwork that's on these in order to get a handle on them that's functional. Um, the other sets I do like, I mean, I do like some of their profiles here. In the Dark Shift in particular, and also they sell this, and I think, I forget what other set it comes with, but you have the Sandman profile. And I use that quite a bit. I do like that profile. It is a very handy profile, and they do include it in the Dark Shift. Again, differences in the handles and all that does make a big difference in all that. But I do like their I'm going to put this one off to the side because I made that one. I do like their rakes and all that. I mean, they do have a lot of different profiles in the rakes, and I did get the Christine Palmer rake set from them. This is the 20,000, the 25,000s. I might actually pick this up in the thinner sets, but again, I'm conflicted. I actually might buy them from Multipick instead because Sparrows I don't think has the thermal handles on the thinner sets, and I don't understand why they do that. Because the handle is so important. So I'm actually probably going to buy the rakes from Multipick instead. But they do have some good profiles, and they are very useful. I used all of them. What I do like is they do sell blanks or do it yourself ones, and so I do have some of those. And this is actually a rake pick that I made with a Dremel and all of that. So I actually modeled it after a snake rake, and then I added another bump in it. And it works pretty well. I mean, I do like the fact that they sell blanks, but again, it's that single sheet of metal, but it's a do-it-yourself. So that actually, I understand. Now, I am a woodworker as well, and one thing that I am wanting to do in the future is make my own picks and do a nice wood handle on them. So, just buying that little sheet of metal is nice if you're going to be doing your own handles. But again, you should have the option of getting a handle on it if it's already a pre-made pick, in my opinion. So those are the rake picks. And then I did get the thin silver set. Now these are 0.012 inch width picks, so they are very flexible. As you can see, you can bend that quite a bit compared to if I go with the 25 thousandths, not as much of a give. And I got these because I was starting to get into some of the paracentric and having a hard time getting up into the keyway. I have a lot of arthritis in my hands, and so I need room to work with sometimes, and so I can't always do like a side attack or a diagonal pick. I gotta kind of go from the bottom of the keyway up, so sometimes I gotta get in between the keyway and all that. So I did get the thin set and all of that. I haven't really used it a lot, but it's the basic profiles. And I gotta say I like them. I'll use them when in the cases I need them, but they're not a high use pick set. Um, so those are my main picks that I use. Now the one thing I do also want to show off, just because I like these and all that. I did make my own master or skeleton ward keys and all that. So I got some warded locks with master lock, and I was like, hey, I want to make my own you know, warded keys because what inspired me to do this was actually my Covert Companion. Was when I look at the ward picks, and this is again one of the things I like about the Covert Companion. But again, it's the one that I, I I know why they did it to keep it thin, but at the same time, it's easy to bend them. And so, what a lot of people will do will be double up the picks here. So you've got two of the profiles that are similar. So if I'm using the the pick here that has the two items on it, I can just bring that other one that's just got the top behind it, and now it's thicker. And when I go to twist it, it's got more strength to it, so it doesn't twist as much. If I just go in with this is I think 25 thousandths or point 0.6 millimeters wide, and so it twists easier. So you can bend it, you can twist it, which I was having problems with. And so what I did was I took some of the Master Lock extra keys that I had, and I took my Dremel and I made my own ward picks and all of that. So I'll probably do a video on how I did these. I mean, they came out pretty nice. This was the first set that I did. I actually have a collection of antique Master Lock ward keys that I want to make another set from because this one, there was a flaw in the key at the tip here, so it is a bit finicky, but it works. So those are my tools. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. Please like the video if you liked it, and please feel free to comment. I do try to check the comments weekly. I do apologize for the space in between which videos are made. Things have been very kind of crazy in life right now, so I've got a list of videos that I want to get to, and I'm hoping to be able to record. And I'm hoping to start releasing videos kind of on a bi-weekly basis. So stay tuned for more videos. Again, if you like the video, please like, please subscribe to the channel, and please put a comment if you got any questions or if you have ideas for videos. I'm always open to ideas and all of that. So I hope everybody has a beautiful day, and I will see you later.